Okay. Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add scene details to your scene, and I'll ask you some essential questions when modeling your room. So yeah, let's get started. First off, open up your file if you've not already. Should be in ISO Room, Scenes. The last file was the outliner, so open that up. And then once it's open, let's resave it. So File, Save Scene As. Let's rename this one lesson 7 underscore details. My ASCII file, save as. Should appear right over here. Yep, so you're good to go. Now, before we get started, here's some essential questions I want you guys to think about. And for those within my class, I provided a Google Doc where you can write out your answers and what else you need to get done. So, number 1, who lives in this room, right? So what's their age, what's their personality, what's their lifestyle? This will kind of help you think about, I guess, more of what you're going to add, and if it's going to be a messy room, it's going to be a clean room, and all that. Going on from that question, what do they like to do? So like what hobbies, daily activities, special interests. And now just thinking about rooms in general, what do most modern rooms have? So in this case, most modern rooms has a light switch, or sometimes they have a baseboard along the floor and the wall, right? Some older rooms, I believe it's from like the 50s and 60s, has like this decor that's on the top of the roof, or not roof, but like along the ceiling and the wall. You know what I'm talking about? If not, search it up. And let's see what else. I have 2 more questions. So how does the layout reflect the personality and the needs? So you might have to adjust the layout of your scene too. And then what other small details can bring your room to life? For example, like personal items, lighting. Is there wear and tear on your furniture? If this is an athlete, what type of athlete are they? Maybe they go to the gym, so they have like some weights on the side. So these are just some things to have you guys think about and start to build. Now, I'm only going to cover 3 scene details. In this video, we're going to build a light switch. I want to show you how to make a book, and we're going to build a vase or a vase. So let's get started. To build a light switch, it's going to be really similar to the door. We're going to make a cube. Let's go ahead and isolate it. I'm going to make the light switch next to the door because when you walk into a room, most of the time the light switch is right next to a door. So let's scale that. I'm going to scale it. I'll make it kind of small. F to frame. Great. Next up, I'm going to add some insert edge loops. So I'm going to use the Mesh Tools Insert Edge Loop. I want to look at the settings, and I want to make sure that I'm going to put 2 edge loops in it. So with that selected, whoops, I want to click on the edge. I made that. I want to scale them out so they're kind of near the edge. I want to make 2 more on the side. If I can get it to work. Do I have symmetry on? No. Just doesn't want to work right now. Oh, I need to reselect the tool. That's why. There we go. Then we can scale it out. Yeah. Looks nice. Checking my notes. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. Then we can take this off. Click on Q to exit the tool. And then we can select these edges. We can go to my modeling toolkit, and then we should be able to bevel this. We can adjust the fraction. Remember, if you hold down Shift, Control, middle mouse, click and drag, you can adjust the fraction on that. So I'm going to have mine about there. just a personal preference. You guys can do whatever you want. And then, let's see. Before I do anything else, I'm going to add a cut in the middle. I'm going to use my multi-cut tool, hold down Control, and then if you use the middle mouse button, it'll cut it right in the middle. Boom. I like that. I want to click on Q to exit the tool. And then I'm going to go to my face selection. So you can right click and hold, go to face, or click on the button over here. Click on this, hold down Shift, see how my mouse changes, double click. I have that selected. And then I want to extrude this back. So using my extrude tool, or we could do a smart extrude. Move tool, which is W, hold down Shift, and drag it back slightly. Yeah. And then finally, let's go to our edge tool. So right click, hold, drag to edge, let's select this edge, drag that out. So it looks like a light switch. It's more of a modern light switch. Okay, so that is a very basic light switch. Let's exit isolation mode. Ooh, where is it? There we go. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it on my wall. I'm gonna isolate the two items so I can just place it down easy. I should probably adjust the, yeah, let me adjust the pivot real quick. There we go. I'll place it on my wall. I'm gonna hold down V. V is the shortcut to this magnet button, snap to points. So hold down V, snap it to the wall. Should be on the wall. Yeah, should be. Yep, looks nice. I'm gonna unisolate it, and then I'm going to adjust it so it makes a little more sense. Now, if the door is opening this way, it probably makes more sense for this to be on the other side. Because when you open a door, usually it's on that side. It'd be kind of redundant to close the door and then try to mess with the light switch. So yeah, that makes more sense. Next up, I'm going to show you guys how to make a book. So I'm going to make another cube. My book's going to go on these floating shelves. I might have a couple over here too. So let's isolate our cube. I'm going to scale them, make it look more like a book. It's always nice to frame the object because when you rotate, it'll rotate around the object. If you did not already know that. Yeah, that looks kind of like a book, right? Yeah, there we go. All books are a little different. Make it a little skinnier. Okay. Spending a little too much time on it. That's okay. Now, for this one, we're also going to add 2 edge loops. So if I go to Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop, I'm going to go to the Settings. I'm going to insert 2 edge loops right here. I'm going to scale them out. Because I want to make the book covers first. I'll make the book covers first. So insert 2, scale. I want to go to face mode next. I want to click on this and then transform that out. So because I inserted the 2 edge loops, now you can see it's curving out slightly. This will make a nice like spine of the book. And then let's see. Oh yeah, with the insert edge loop tool settings still open, we're going to turn off, wait, this is not it. Let me go to Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop, click on this. Yeah, there we go. We're going to turn off the insert number of edge loops. So let's make that to 1. And then we're going to say equal distance from edge. So equal distance from edge. We want to put it near here because we want to build that spine of the book. So see how it's going towards the edge? I'm going to put it around here. If you messed up, you can always just translate it and adjust it accordingly. Okay, but I'm pretty happy with that. We've got the spine of the book. Next part's pretty easy. All we're going to do is I'm going to go to face mode. So right click, hold, face, select 3 sides, and then we're going to extrude that in to make the illusion of pages. So we're going to extrude, we're going to change the thickness and go in the negative direction. Yeah, so that looks like a book. Right click, hold, object mode. I'm going to unisolate it. I should probably change my pivot point too before I do that. So let me change the pivot point. I'm going to go into my translate. I'm going to click on D and move it down. Whoops. There we go. And then I'm going to snap to the bottom. I'm going to put it over here. Okay. Yeah, that should be good. Snap to the bottom, looks nice. Let's exit isolation mode. I want to put it on my shelf. Move it to my shelf. I'm going to isolate those two. I'm going to use my snapping points tool, which is V, or the magnet button. Snap it to the shelf. Looks nice. I'm going to adjust it. And then I'm going to duplicate it. So you already know that if you hold down Shift, you can clone. You also know that Command D is duplicate. Now, if you do Shift D, that'll duplicate it and translate it based off the last transformation. So Shift D should, yeah, there you go. Shift D. Yep. Now, usually if books are like this on a shelf, you either like to buy books that are the exact same size, or you have a lot of dictionaries or encyclopedias which are the same size. So to give it more of a variety, you can take your time to scale each one based off the pivot point. So I'm going to scale it. Scale the back of it as well. Just play around with it. Maybe it's wider. Now, some books are not perfectly in line, right? So you can play around with it. I want to let you guys play around with it, make it look more, I guess, natural. You can even move the book out. If you change the pivot point on this side, so let me change the pivot point to this edge, and then you can rotate it from that edge. I'll rotate it from that edge. Yeah. It's subtle, but try not to go through the book's geometry if you rotate it. But yeah, adjust your bookshelf. Don't have it like this. Give it some variety. It'll make it come way more alive and just feel more natural. So yeah. Okay, the last one I'm going to show you. Oh, let's save it. So Command S. Last thing I'm going to show you is how to make a vase. So let's grab a cylinder. Let's isolate it. Let's scale it. F to frame. Okay, you can adjust it how you want. And then next up, let's see my notes. Okay. If you want, you can change how many lines are here. Go to the poly count, and you can change the axis, so subdivisions. I would say around like 14. You can play around with it. I'm actually going to do 15. I'm my default was about 20, but I like about 15. Play around with it, see what you like. And then I want to change the pivot point before I forget, like I did with books. I want to change the pivot point, drag it to the bottom, D to confirm. Get my modeling toolkit out. Let's see my steps. We're going to insert an edge loop to the middle so we can create like that vase shape. So multi-cut tool, I'm going to hold down Control, insert an edge loop here. Click on Q to exit that mode. I'm going to scale the top and the bottom. So right click, I'm going to go to vert mode or vertex mode and select the bottom. I'm going to scale that in. I'm going to select the top. I'm also going to scale that in. This is just subjective. You can scale it how much you want. And then I'm going to extrude the top. Let me make sure I didn't skip a step. Yeah. Oh yeah. So with this in mind, so 1 is this my normal view, and then 3, you can see how it's smoothing to look more like a vase. So you can click between 1 and 3 to see how it's smoothing. Next step, I'm going to create this neck so that becomes more vase-like. I want a little neck right here. So we're going to use our face tool, and just like we did with the side table, hold down Tab. You can see how my mouse changes. Whoops, did not mean to scale it. Let's do my selection tool, which is Q, and then Tab, and then you should select. There you go. Nothing's broken. Everything's fine. W, hold down Shift to do a smart extrude. And then because a vase has a hole on top, go ahead and delete that. So now if we select it, whoops, let me go to object mode. 3, yeah, it looks more like a vase. There's a few more things that we need to do, but we're basically there. So let's select this middle line. Let's go to our edge selection. So Q, right click, edge. So to select that, all I did was click, hold down Shift, double click. Should select the ring. I'm going to add a bevel to it and adjust the fraction. Now if you have 3 turned on, you can see what the fraction does. So see how that affects the curvature of the vase. So I want to go back to 1. I'm going to make it around here. Yeah, I like that. So I'm just going between 1 and 3. If you want that in between, there's also 2. But if that's too confusing, 1 and 3 is good to do. So I'm back on 1. I also want to add a bevel at the bottom of the vase. So let's select that. So I have my edge selection on. Let me zoom in for you guys. So I selected that, hold down Shift, double click. Should select the whole base. I want to add a bevel to that as well. So bevel. I want to have chamfer off. Chamfer off as I adjust the fraction. Now, let's see what is happening in real time. So if I click on 3, you can see how it kind of flattens out the bottom. Go back to 1. Yeah, that's pretty close. So yeah, 3 and 1. I want to flatten out that bottom. Looks pretty good. And then let's check it out. 3. I think this top part could be a little bit smoother. So I'm going to add a cut right here on the neck. So if I have my multi-cut tool, hold down Control, let's insert an edge loop. Left mouse click. See how that looks now. Yeah, it looks a little smoother, looks a little nicer. Again, that's subjective, so you can add it however you want. And then almost done with the vase. All we have to do is extrude the whole thing, and then we got to smooth it. So see right now, it's kind of like a paper. We don't want it to be a paper vase. We want it to be like not paper. So go to extrude. We're going to extrude the thickness. We go in the positive direction to not break it. Go back to object mode. Smoothing should still be good. Yep. And then we can go ahead and go to the smooth button, or you can go to mesh smooth. And I have mine as divisions 1. You could try 2. Yeah, I like 1. I'd stick with 1. Don't go too crazy on the divisions, otherwise mine will probably crash. So just be calm on it. So yeah, I got my vase, or my vase. Let's move it somewhere. I'm gonna probably put it on my bookshelf over here. So I wanna move this. Let's isolate the two. So I can just snap it on. Okay, let's snap that on, hold down V, snap, nice. Just move that to the side, exit isolation mode. Yeah, I got a nice vase right there. Great. Let's save that, so Command S, and that's pretty much it. I'll show you one more thing, and I'll leave the rest to you guys. So you can get a little more creative with the vase too. If you want multiple vases, you can actually duplicate it. So clone. And because we have the scale at the bottom, just like the books, when you scale it, you can actually make a whole new vase. So by just changing the settings with the scale. So see, I have a whole new vase, but I don't want that. Just want to show you guys. And the last thing that I forgot to show you is with the books. I'll cover that before I forget. Let me duplicate this book real quick. And let me snap it onto this bookshelf. Now, in the outliner, because we spent a whole bunch of time in the last lesson organizing it, and now you can see that all of my cubes, all my cylinders, all my books and vase and doorbell are not labeled. So if you label it before you duplicate it, so let's say this is my book, so book, it's going to be book 1. Once you clone it, it should automatically update to book 2. So let me show you guys. So I'm going to hold down Shift, clone, boom, book 2. So if you want to repeat that step, make it a bit quicker so you don't have to reorganize your outliner, I would do that. So yeah, rename it. When you clone or duplicate it, it should automatically update with the new name. Just add that number at the end. Okay, now besides that, that's practically it. Make your room feel more like a room. Think about those questions from the beginning, and if you have any questions, let me know in class. So yeah, have a good one.